Hi, this is Matt, and today we're going to go over the ORATS API, the data API, and the documentation can be found at docs.orats.io. And you'll hit the welcome page there, where we say a little bit about what you're going to find inside of the API. Obviously volatility information, but also many other data points. So when you get started, it takes you to the introductory page and talks about a private token. You can get one at support at ORATS. So this token will allow you to get into the api.orats.io site to go obtain this type of information. So we'll just quickly go over what some of the data points are, and the best way to show you this is to look at our associated Excel API, which you could also request from us. So I have an Excel API document here. There are three tabs. One is data current, one is data history, and the other is the settings tab. When you get a token, you will paste it into the user token cell in cell B1 of the settings page. So let's take a look at what happens. I'm going to, if you enter a ticker, let's just put SPY, and you get data. I put a break here. So basically what we're going to do is you're going to get a URL, and it's also going to show you the token. That's my token, and you'll have your own token that's in there. And so this will go ahead and, if you want to see what the programming looks like, this is in Excel VBA, but this will also be just a typical JSON method for obtaining information, and this is going to now display in the Excel sheet. So here we're on strikes. You could see in the drop down that there's implied monies, and we'll go through this kind of briefly. But these are delayed market data, actually quite historical market data. And all of these headers are explained in the documentation. So if we look at strikes, this shows you how to get it. But if you go in the data field definitions and you click on strikes, these are all of the definitions for this particular drop-down ID. So let's go back and look at some other things in there. Implied monies is basically the each expiration summarized by expiration volatility buckets and what the volatilities are. There's also so strikes is one line per strike. Implied monies is one line per expiration, and if you go to our general core, that's one line per stock. So for example, you'll see the volatility in the front month of SPY is 8.89, and so let's say the forecast money is what our forecast is going to be. So this forecast, we're actually forecasting 7.87. So if you looked at these forecasts, you would see that all of the surface is defined. If you look at SMV summary, and then again, this is the smooth market data, one line per stock. We talk about things like X earnings volatility, 10-day, 20-day X earnings volatility. Obviously, there's no earnings in SPY, but for other stocks that will be different. The X earnings will be different from the regular implied volatility. General core, like I said, general core is one line per stock. Earnings core, it's not going to be too different for SPY, and we have dividends and earnings in our feed here as well. So this is the data current. The data historically, I did it for silver here, but you'd be able to go back and see what all of the information is for a particular date in SLV. You could, if you go back in SLV 12/08, you'll be able to see what the strikes were at that day. You could see what the implied monies were on that day. You could see what the forecast, general core, etc. Also, a thing that's nice to do, if you don't put in a date and you go to the core, it will show you the entire history for these particular readings. So this is useful if you ever want to graph or see particular histories on these output. So again, while that it takes a little while because that's a big history, but we're getting the core general, and so we're going to see histories on all this types of information. Contango is one of my favorite. That's a short-term at-the-money volatilities X earnings. So what happens when contango is positive? That's usually bullish, and when contango is negative, that's usually bearish. So let's take a look at here's silver, and again, here are all the various indicators. If we go all the way over to the right, past all of the historical volatilities, we'll start to see contango, and contango has been pretty negative, which is bearish. And if you go to the prices, this is the prior close, but this is the price near the close, so it's been pretty bearish in silver for a while. So that's a brief overview of the data API. We talked about where to get the information on the guide. We talked about looking at current versus historical tabs and how to put in your user key. And again, if you have any questions, it's Matt at ORATS or support at ORATS. Thanks.